What's up, everybody? I've been flying a lot of different goggles recently, and I don't believe that you need to go out and buy the best, especially if you're getting started, right? That's going to cost you a minimum of $400 to up to $600 if you're going HDOs, right? Even, the cheaper SkyZone OLED 030s are $400 at a minimum. Don't start there, right? There are plenty of good goggles under $300. In fact, I did some testing on a whole bunch, and I'm going to tell you what I think are the best goggles for less than $100, less than $200, and less than $300. So depending on your budget, we're going to look at some different options. Hey, stay tuned. All right, so I've got my four favorites here: the Top Sky Prime 2s, the Fatshark Scouts, the SkyZone O2Cs, and the Fatshark Attitude V5s. I'm not going to tell you which is which. I'm going to let you just kind of see and watch. Now, this is all from the DVR. So actually, I got less breakup in all cases than you do in the DVR. It actually always looks a little bit better. Now I'm flying the Eachine Cena Cam. I believe it's a 200 milliwatt VTX with a crappy antenna, so I get a lot of breakup. That's what I wanted. Now you'll notice that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get these to stay synced because of different bit rates and different resolutions and all sorts of different things. Now, here's the reveal. Upper left-hand corner, I got the Fatshark Scout. In the bottom left corner, I got the Fatshark Attitude V5s. In the upper right-hand corner, the SkyZones, and the bottom right-hand corner, the Top Skies. You can kind of see they're fairly similar, right, in terms of breakup. I do think that the Fatshark Attitude V5s did the best overall. That's just me. Again, hard to really say that one's better than the other. I think the Fatsharks, in terms of receptions, do a little bit better, but we lost out there. So I know, not the best test. I just kind of threw them all on the table, threw the drone up in the air, pressed record, made sure that each of them had a comparable patch and omnidirectional antenna. I've done some antenna testing. You're definitely going to want to check that out too, because it does make a difference. Now, let's take a look at some of the techs and specs and pros and cons of these different models. All right, when it comes to buying an FPV goggle, right, there are obviously a lot of options. And, people want to say, hey, what's the best, cheapest way to do it? To get something like this, these cheap Eachine VR006s, there's 007s, 88s, 009s, right? Something like this. Yeah, you could. You can find them for $50, $60. That's not a bad deal. But if you want something that is the best for the best bang, it isn't actually something like this. It's the Eachine OTG receiver, right? An ROTG01, I believe is what it's called. And $30, you get this tiny little dongle. I used to have one, I couldn't find it. Connect it to your smartphone, and your smartphone is now a DVR and goggles. You throw it on Google Cardboard or one of those cheap VR headsets, and boom, you've got a really nice FPV headset. Hey, it's a great cheap way to get started for about $30, and you get a DVR. What is the best cheapest goggle that I recommend? It used to be this, the Eachine VR D3s, just under $100. You get diversity, you get an SD card reader for DVR, but now it's these. These are the Top Sky Prime 2s, and these are really actually pretty nice. It's kind of like a combination goggle box. It's a little bit bigger, but you still got the dual screens in there. We got an IPD adjuster from I believe 58 to 72, which is nice. Diopters on the bottom. We got an on-off switch, USB headphone jack. It is diversity, you can see there. And actually it's pretty darn nice. The resolution is 480 by 320, not super high, but it gets the job done. Actually, the picture's pretty good, and it does record on a 720p DVR, which is cool. The field of view is 76 degrees, and it's got an internal battery that actually you can take out and charges via USB-C. So these guys are my recommended buy for under $100. Right now, you can get them for about $79 from Banggood, right? I do like them. Pretty solid set, easy to use. Buttons are laid out really well. Then as we move up in price, really the next best set of goggles are these. These are the Fatshark Scouts, and these are about 200 bucks, $199. Lots to like about these. Fatshark is the name you know and trust. We've got an upgraded fitting. These feel a lot nicer on your face. They're a lot more comfortable. We actually have built-in we have built-in diversity. There's a patch antenna in here. We've got a good quality antenna on top. Power button. These LEDs actually tell you a lot of information once you kind of learn the lighting sequence and colors of what they mean. Button layout is actually pretty good, better than most of their other goggles. USB to charge, AV in and out. It does record, and the screen is pretty nice. The screen is an 1130 by 640 resolution, so that's pretty high, but we're dealing with that 4-inch screen there. Battery is an 18, it's right up here, it's an 18650, and it charges via that other side, via the USB-C. SD card slot goes in there for your DVR. So yes, these are actually a pretty solid option for 200 bucks. It's kind of a low profile box style, but still pretty darn nice. As we move up in price, I really like these eSheen Quad Versities. They didn't make the final cut, but I have to mention them because, you know, for about $280 you get, really, this is the best signal I've seen. Why? Well, because you got 4 antennas. These modules are actually interchangeable. You can actually take them out, buy different ones. Field of view is 42 degrees. We can switch between 16:9 and 4:3, which is actually a really nice feature depending on the cameras you use. It does have a fan. And the resolution is 1280 by 720, so that's really good. You can use diopters in here, and it does, of course, record. And you get a nice little carrying case. Now we're up to the $300 price mark for just under 300 bucks, $299. I really like these Fatshark Attitude V5s, good-looking goggles. But really, the best part of these are the screens. These are OLED screens. We've got a 30-degree field of view, and these OLEDs have a 640 by 400 resolution, which is pretty good. Built-in diversity, right? You can see here and here. And this module is actually something you can replace and change if you so choose. Now, these are 4:3 only, and I'm really not a big fan. Fatshark, maybe this is nice, maybe it's not, but you just have 2 buttons. I think it's kind of archaic. You got to plug in here to run your fan, plug in here to turn them on. No power button. IPD on the bottom is 59 to 69 millimeters, and you did get a nice little case with these. Fatshark, whether you go with these guys or the Scouts, they are #1 when it comes to customer service. So, you know, these other companies coming out of China, not necessarily known for customer service, but Fatshark absolutely is. In terms of comfort, I like the way that these feel, probably the best, with this leather/pleather fitment around the sides. Really a nice, good goggle. Then it comes down to what I actually fly with. I've got all of these options, and this is what I use. These are the SkyZone O2Xs, although I recommend the O2Cs. The Xs have this camera that you can turn on and see what's in front of you, but I think it's a little bit goofy. It's kind of gimmicky. The O2Cs, you lose the camera, but you save about $40. So you can pick up the O2Cs, sometimes as cheap as $250. Now, the screens on these are really crisp, like a lot of the other ones. The Fatsharks, you can put in diopters if you need to. We do have an IPD adjustment on the bottom from 59 to 69. Lots of different inputs and outputs here. HDMI, AV out, USB. There's my card slot, which is in a better place than the Fatsharks. Got a head tracker on this side. Over here you can see I have a power button. That's pretty novel. I'm going to have labeled buttons that make sense. Record, mode, search, band, channel, track. Well, that's for head tracker. Look at that fan. Pretty cool looking. You know, they don't feel quite as nice on my face here, but they are good, right? These are my favorites. Now, I did have to replace the DVR. It went bad on me, but SkyZone stepped up and sent me a new one. New DVR, and I replaced it. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, these are good for the price. All right, so I know this is not scientific testing, and this is really more of a personal preference sort of thing. But really, I don't think there are other better options. You know, there are good goggles out there for less than $300. But really, these I think are the ones you're going to be most satisfied. Now, I've kind of laid out kind of the pros and cons of each one, and really it is a personal preference. And if you can try these on and test them, I know that's not really realistic for everyone. That's really the best way to do this. I think the way they fit is definitely gonna be different from person to person. So if you can try them on, maybe borrow them from a buddy, go to a hobby shop, that is what I would recommend before you buy anything. If you don't have that option, then you just gotta kind of look at the specs and see what you think is best for you. Anyway, what do you think? Leave us a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Love interacting with our viewers. Drop us a comment down below and we'll get back to you. Anyway, good luck and happy flying.